Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time of watching a video of mine, thank you for stopping by. So today's video, this was supposed to be a collab video. I actually wanted to bring someone onto my channel to talk about this with, but situations are different, so we're just going to do it solo, and then maybe as time goes on I'm going to do sort of a part 2, or we can just keep the conversation ongoing in the comment section as always. So I'm going to talk about my deal breakers. Now I'm emphasizing on mine because I don't want people to come at me and say that this is unrealistic, it doesn't make sense, blah blah. These are my deal breakers. So if you agree with them, you don't agree with them, let me know. But of course, don't be rude about it. It's not that deep. So I'm going to be using the word he at a point because I'm trying to talk about the opposite sex, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm attacking the men, so just have that in mind. A disclaimer. So number 1, constantly having to prove how I feel, or constantly having to prove myself. Now if you're in a relationship where there is no trust, you're going to have to constantly prove how you feel. You have to constantly be doing this or doing that, or constantly explaining yourself just to prove to the person that you actually care about the person, or you actually have feelings for the person. Now, I can't be in a relationship like that because I think it's a lot of work. Now relationship in itself has a lot of ups and downs, it has a lot of do's and don'ts and all of that, but which of course depends on every relationship. It's not like a general rule and stuff, because what you be able to tolerate someone won't, and vice versa. So I think that having to now come and prove myself every time, I think that's really a lot of work. You don't have to always question me. There's a difference between you are interested, you're curious, you want to know, and then there's a difference when you actually, it's like you want to know because you don't believe otherwise. It's like, I don't trust you, so explain yourself. Like you asked me, oh, how was your day, where did you go, what did you out of a conversation, but not necessarily because you think that I went somewhere that I shouldn't have, or I was with someone that I shouldn't have, or something like that. I think that's just sickening and very, very stressful. So for me, that's an absolute deal breaker. So it basically says that if I'm in a relationship where I'm not trusted, definitely for me that means I should get out of that relationship. Point number 2, someone who never thinks he is wrong and is always pushing the blame on me. Now I think that for me, if I'm wrong, or sometimes you're not even wrong, but just to bring peace, you apologize. Now if I'm with someone who cannot say sorry, someone who cannot admit he's wrong, and is always making it look like I'm the one to blame, or I'm the one at fault, or making it look like whatever situation that I am talking about or complaining about is absolute nonsense, then I think that someone like that is definitely not the kind of person that I want to be with. Because I want you to, when you're wrong, admit you're wrong and say sorry. Sometimes you don't want to say sorry, sometimes you really, really don't want to say sorry, but then that it was going to bring peace, or that to an extent it's the best thing to do. So admit you are wrong, apologize, and don't always push the blame on me. Sometimes for example, let's say there's this communication issue, and I'm like, oh, you don't text, you don't call, and you're like, you're not the person to blame, or you're not the only one to blame. I think that that's just the wrong way to go about such a situation. If I come to you and I'm like, oh, you don't call, you don't text, it's kind of like, I'm just pointing you to something that I have realized or I've noticed. But you saying you're not the one to blame, or you're not the only one to blame, I feel like what are you trying to say? At least admit that, oh, it's true, this and that. Try to explain your side of the story or something, but then don't be like, you're not the one to blame, you're not the only one to blame. Or don't tell me that at least when you text or you call, you reply. Just say what you are doing, the you not calling and you not texting is totally okay, and that I'm the one who is making a big deal out of the situation. So definitely someone who doesn't never thinks he's wrong, who doesn't apologize, and is always pushing the blame on me is not my kind of partner. Point number 3, someone who doesn't give or share. Now, I'm not talking about, unrealistic things like, giving me things that maybe you can't afford, or like unrealistic, like just doing unrealistic stuff. No, but the little thing goes a long way. Some people just they don't give. It's not even about you or whatever. It's like they just don't give. And I feel like if you're in a relationship with someone, you actually care about the person, you actually have feelings for the person, something should definitely move you to do something small for the person. It's like some people, they don't, what is giving, what is sharing, what am I giving, what's the essence of doing it, especially when they have the mentality that you can afford it or you can get it yourself. Trust me, it's more about the thoughts that count. Sometimes they might get you something or do something for you that's actually going to help you or get you out of a situation, but for me, most of the times it's the thoughts that counts. You don't come and say that, oh, you can afford this, you can do this yourself, so you're not doing anything. We're in a relationship for so many different reasons, and if I'm going to call you my partner, it should be someone who can actually, I know that I can fall back on when I need help, but it's not like you're in the position to give or help but then you don't. So what's your reason? Have I done something wrong? Are you sure you want to be in this relationship? Because it really sends the wrong signal. So definitely someone who doesn't give or share, for me, is a complete no. Because and in fact, I live by the golden rule. I do unto others as I want them to do unto me. So if I'm giving you, I'm sharing with you, and you are not doing the same for me, I think it's time for me to go. So yeah, point number 4, someone who is too playful or too serious. Now, I feel like on YouTube I come off a bit too serious, but I'm not so uptight. I actually have a very playful and jovial side. I can be very sarcastic, and on the negative side I can also be very cheeky. But if you're someone who is just too serious, like you can't take a joke, because I'm surrounded by people who are a good balance, and sometimes I pass a sarcastic comment and it just doesn't go down well with them. And I'm just wondering, with someone who is too serious, so how would that person react to such a comment? Like, the person will just take the thing like it's World Cup, and then it's going to put like a whole mess, and then I'm now going to have to apologize for trying to make a situation a bit more fun, and then I'm going to have to try and be less sarcastic, which is like my personality, and it's just a lot. So I think that someone who is too serious is definitely a no-no for me. But at the same time, I'm someone who really likes planning. I like taking precautions. I like being careful, being being very careful. And if you're someone who is too playful, it's like I can't come and have a serious conversation with you. You're taking everything, like if I come and I tell you something that to me is very serious, and then you're like, oh, why are you making a big deal out of it? Oh, what's that? Like all the time. I mean, sometimes, yeah, we are women, we can kind of exaggerate about situations and everything, but even that, at that point when you are very emotional, you don't want someone to come and just brush off what you're saying as you're not being serious, or you're not being realistic or anything like that. So if you're just too playful, I can't have serious conversations with you, or in your life it's like you don't have any focus, you don't have any plan, you're just like going along with the flow. For me, I really can't be with someone like that. I want someone who has a plan for his life. I want someone who I can have serious conversations with. At the same time, I want someone who I can just let loose with, just have fun with. So a balance is really, really important for me. There are people, you want someone who is really uptight, who is going to keep you on your toes, or you want someone who is really playful, fine. But for me, a balance is like really, really necessary. Of course, there are going to be times when the person is playful when you don't want the person to be, or the person is serious when you don't want the person to be. But then as long as I know you are the kind of person that has the good balance, it's totally okay. After all, we are all not perfect. So point number 5, communication barrier. So this can be both ways, but then I'm going to of course tackle the opposite, my partner, or like the opposite sex. So someone who doesn't know how to express their feelings. So I think this is self-explanatory. So someone who doesn't know how to express their feelings, someone who doesn't share their thoughts or their plans or their ideas, someone who doesn't call or text as often as is required, leaving you on blue ticks, someone who is always being indifferent. It's like when they come and tell you something, those people that when you tell them something, okay, okay, sure, we thank God. Like, I'm not in a relationship with you, and I'm not going to have conversations where, I mean, if it's regular people that, you know, you sometimes you're just checking up on the person and the message ends up with we thank God or okay or something, even though it's annoying, it's a bit understandable, but I don't expect that my partner who I'm in a relationship with, when I come and I text you or then you are just we thank God, okay, sure, maybe. Like, say something, you know, because at the end of the day, a relationship that starts now, the difference between a relationship that starts now and one that progresses over time is definitely how well you two know each other. But if we are not talking, if we are not communicating, how exactly are we to know each other? Because when you start a relationship, yes, you know the person's favorite color, you know the person's favorite food, you know what the person likes doing, hobby, in terms of hobby, or you know what the person's job, where the person's schooled at, and all of that. But then as the relationship progresses, definitely you guys should know each other on a deeper level. Know the person to the point where you can't even describe the person with words. More than family and friends know the person. That is when you know that your relationship has grown and has matured. Sometimes it will take 6 months, sometimes it will take 1 year. It really depends on you and the relationship. But then it should definitely be a deep relationship. Like, you should know the person when something happens, or you know you're going to talk to the person about something. You know the person so much so that you know how to address the situation. If you know that your girlfriend is really emotional, when she comes to tell you something that you kind of don't agree on, you know that at that moment you kind of just have to comfort her, but then later on you just be like, oh, this thing, you should have done this or you should have done that. But not like in at that moment when she's so emotional or in front of everybody, you just tell her your honest opinion, because that way it's like, you know, you're hurting the person, which is unnecessary, especially when you know the person. I'm not saying lie to the person, no, I'm saying comfort the person, support the person at that moment, and then later on you try to let the person understand that this was probably a better way to go about the situation, or that this thing is not something that he or she should have taken so serious. You know, so you should know the people to a deeper level so that you can avoid certain arguments and certain like things. Because sometimes in the beginning you might be complaining that, oh, you like this and that, but then as time progresses, when something happens, you're like, oh, that's how he is. And it should also be that you are not condoning or accepting things that you shouldn't be. It's not like that's how it is, so he should walk all over me, or I should accept what shouldn't be. But then it's just how the person is, and the other things are just on point. So we are not perfect, so you just accept it as it is. So for me, communication is really important, and someone who doesn't know how to communicate properly is just a no for me. For me, when I'm mad at you, I'm just quiet, minding my own business. I just expect you to realize that I'm no longer like that with you. Like, normally I'll just be chatty, explain things, you know, be all over you and everything. But then when something is wrong, I'm no longer like that. I start giving you like one like words, okay, sure. That's when you should know that something's wrong. So if you know me to a deeper level, you definitely know this and you know something is wrong. But then again, I think it's better to actually talk about things when you have a problem with something. Tell the person about it. The person might not actually agree that what he did or what she did is wrong, but at least you've spoken about it, you've gotten it off your chest, then you can actually move on. So for me, those are my relationship deal breakers. Constantly having to prove how I feel, which is a trust problem. Someone who never thinks he's wrong, or is always pushing the blame on me, someone who doesn't give or share, someone who is too playful or too serious, and then someone who doesn't know how to communicate well. Now, I don't know if you agree with me, if you disagree, but do let me know in the comment section below. Share with me your relationship deal breakers. I'm sure there might be a part 2 of this somewhere, somehow, hopefully when everything is a bit normal. But then, of course, keep the conversation ongoing in my DMs in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys in another video. Bye guys.